Welcome, music fanatics, to this special installment we're framing as an album quest. Forget all those endless, subjective arguments about the greatest song or the best band.
Right, the ones that go nowhere.
Exactly. Today, we are diving deep into a singular, obsessive, and really highly structured musical competition.
I love this concept.
It's an entire lifetime's worth of music, all distilled into a World Cup-style tournament, and it's designed to crown the one true best album of all time, according to one very dedicated listener.
That's exactly right. We're looking at the intense results of this personal album quest. It's just this massive undertaking where albums are not judged by reputation or nostalgia alone.
No, this is head-to-head performance.
Purely. The process is so rigorous. Albums are randomized into groups, usually 4 strong, listened to back-to-back over and over again, and then they're ranked with what you could call brutal honesty, first through fourth.
And the beauty of this whole system is just its efficiency. I mean, it gives us an immediate shortcut into analyzing these really specific musical arguments.
Yeah, and the values, right? What does this person value?
Exactly. Studio albums versus compilations, experimentation versus just rock-solid consistency. The rules are crystal clear. Top 2 albums in each group advance.
And the bottom 2 are instantly eliminated.
It is absolutely cutthroat.
And this is critical. The group we're analyzing today is already in round 2.
Right, so they've already won once.
Every single contender here has survived that initial gauntlet of round 1. They're all proven survivors. But today, 2 of them will fall, and only 2 will make it to the next stage, round 3.
So our mission is to focus intently on round 2, Group 18, which I have to say comes with maybe the most brilliantly constructed group title we've seen so far.
Fantastic.
Pearl Jam are B-sides themselves after seeing a demon with big ones.
I mean, you have to love the dedication. To use every album title in the theme, that's commitment.
It really is.
And it immediately sets the stage for how intense this competition is. The contenders are, they are vastly different musically. They represent 4 very distinct eras and genres.
Okay, so let's lay them out.
We have Vitalogy from Pearl Jam. Then there's the high-octane hard rock compilation Big Ones by Aerosmith.
A total monster of a record.
Absolutely. Then the genre-defying electronic fusion of Demon Days by Gorillaz. And finally, the archival progressive rock compilation B-Sides Themselves from Marillion.
4 veterans, all fighting for survival. And, the author noted this specific grouping was challenging, but also called it mid-tier compared to some of the other groups in round 2. So we have to ask, how did they all get here? What did they have to conquer just to earn the right to even be in this group?
And potentially be eliminated.
Exactly.
Okay.
Let's unpack this and see the incredible backstory. Okay, so before we jump into the Group 18 ranking itself, we really need to understand the sheer scope of this album quest.
We do.
The fact that these albums are even still standing means they must have defeated some absolute titans back in round 1.
Oh, absolutely.
So what does their prior success tell us about their competitive strength?
It really tells us everything. Round 1 is the defining stage where, random chance creates these just unbelievably cruel matchups.
Right.
To survive, an album doesn't just need to be good. It needs to be better than the 3 others it was, arbitrarily paired with.
And that's where you see what the author really values.
Exactly. This is where we see the power of, say, commercial consistency really shine, and where conceptual risk sometimes gets penalized right out of the gate.
Okay, so let's start with the hard rock juggernaut, Aerosmith's Big Ones. This is a best of compilation. It's already, like you said, armed with an inherent structural advantage.
It is. It's quality controlled by its very nature.
Of course.
So Big Ones qualified second from round 1, Group 40. Now you have to look at its competition. It finished right behind The Hits by Prince.
Another compilation.
Another compilation, which, that suggests the author really values that kind of curated perfection. But the real story is who it eliminated. This is critical.
Okay, tell us. Who fell to the power of the Big Ones?
It successfully knocked out 2 absolute giants of their respective genres. First, The Hurting by Tears for Fears.
Wow, a new wave classic.
A defining album for its era, highly cohesive, gone. And the other one, the progressive rock epic 2112 by Rush.
Wait. It eliminated 2112.
It did, and that right there is a major upset. That deserves some discussion.
That is a staggering result. I mean, for so many rock purists, Rush's 1976 magnum opus with its sidelong title track, it's the definition of intellectual rock.
It's a sacred text for prog fans.
So how does a commercial slick greatest hits compilation like Big Ones defeat something like 2112?
Well, it highlights the difference between, let's say, ambition and execution in this very specific subjective contest. 2112 is celebrated for its 20-minute conceptual epic.
Right, side one.
Exactly, yeah. But if the surrounding tracks, the shorter, less ambitious songs on the second side, if they don't maintain that same level of transcendent quality, the whole album can be penalized for being uneven.
Ah, I see. So the B-side drags it down.
Potentially, yeah. Whereas Big Ones, on the other hand, provide 78 minutes of perfected, commercially engineered rock. Every track is a certified hit. In the brutal economy of this quest, that raw, sustained commercial power often trumps conceptual density.
So Rush's 20-minute gamble lost to Aerosmith's 78 minutes of guaranteed hooks. That is a major philosophical statement by the author right there.
It really is.
Okay, let's move on to Gorillaz, a much more modern and eclectic challenger with Demon Days.
Demon Days qualified second from round one, group 133, and it also faced a really tight field.
And again, it finished behind another compilation.
It did, yeah. Baker Street Best Of by Jerry Rafferty.
Yeah.
But again, look at who it defeated to get that spot. It beat two very powerful albums known for atmosphere and sophisticated production.
Okay, who are they?
Sunday, 8p meter from Faithless, a cornerstone of electronic chill-out music, and The Raw and the Sure, cooked by the Fine Young Cannibals, which is a super polished late 80s pop classic.
So Gorillaz really had to prove that its multi-genre, animated approach could stand toe-to-toe with these established leaders in electronic and pop music.
Precisely. Its victory suggests that its specific brand of cerebral fusion, that blend of rap, electronica, subtle pop hooks, was deemed a more compelling, more engaging experience than the consistency of a Faithless or the vintage polish of Fine Young Cannibals.
It earned its place by demonstrating superior compositional depth.
Across multiple genres, yeah. It proved its versatility was a strength, not a weakness.
All right, next up. The historical anomaly of the group. Marillion's B-sides themselves. This record just speaks to an earlier, very specific musical era.
It really does. The era of vinyl and deep-cut reverence.
Right.
So B-sides themselves qualified second from round one, group 80, but there's a bit of an asterisk on this group.
How so?
It was one of the smaller groupings, with only 3 albums.
Ah, so statistically a better chance of survival.
Much better chance, yeah. It qualified behind Seriously by Phil Collins, an album that is commercially mammoth and, universally accessible, but it successfully eliminated 100 Relaxing Classics Volume 5 by various artists.
Okay, that seems like a bit of an easier win, knocking out a generic compilation of classical music.
It does seem that way on the surface, but I think the takeaway isn't the victory over the classical compilation itself.
Okay.
It's the fact that this collection of B-sides, material that was deemed not good enough for the original studio album.
They're cast-offs, essentially.
Exactly. It proved to be a far more singular and cohesive artistic effort than a generic placeholder record. It really speaks to the incredible quality control Marillion had in the 1980s.
That their discards were still that good.
That their discards were still better than entire collections of curated, relaxing music.
Yeah. And finally, the album that actually dominated its round one group, Pearl Jam's Vitalogy. This grunge heavyweight was the only one in our current Group 18 to top its qualifying round.
And it had a powerful, really commanding run in round one, Group 175. It qualified first, finishing ahead of some seriously strong names that define late 20th century music.
Like who?
Well, for starters, it defeated its fellow grunge contender Bad Motorfinger by Soundgarden.
Whoa! Okay, defeating Soundgarden is no small feat. That album is often praised for its technical innovation and, of course, Chris Cornell's vocal dynamism.
It's a monster of a record. And Vitalogy also eliminated 2 other albums known for their very distinct, maybe even niche flavors.
Go on.
Dingleberry Haze by the Bloodhound Gang, known for their irreverent humor and unique electronic rock blend. And Girl Like Me by Rihanna, representing modern, massive pop sensibility.
So it took on grunge, common rock, and pop and won.
It topped that group because despite its internal inconsistencies, which we are definitely going to discuss, its raw power and its ability to successfully merge heavy rock and introspection just overwhelmed 3 very strong but very disparate opponents.
So, to recap, we have 4 albums that collectively defeated Rush, Soundgarden, Faithless, and Tears for Fears. They are all battle-hardened.
Absolutely.
And yet the Quest author called this round 2 grouping mid-tier. That That almost seems like an insult.
It does, but I think it suggests that while these albums are all strong, they might share a common flaw that the truly top-tier round 2 groups don't.
And what would that flaw be?
That's the core tension we're diving into. The author noted that while all 4 are musically sound and well-crafted, this group lacks that truly sparkling great album.
The one record that's both a commercial hit and consistently flawless in its artistic intent.
Exactly. There's no consensus masterpiece here. Let's find out why by starting with the one that finished dead last.
Here's where the rubber meets the road. Despite their round 1 triumphs, 2 of these veterans now have to face elimination. The author struggled, apparently, intensely with the rankings in this group, which suggests the difference between 4th and 3rd and 2nd and 1st was probably razor thin. So let's start with the one that fell earliest, Pearl Jam's Vitalogy.
Landing in a surprising 4th place is Vitalogy, Pearl Jam's 3rd studio effort from 1994. The author delivered a pretty harsh verdict, judging it as a bit all over the place.
A mixed bag.
Ultimately calling it a competent record, but a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
And this is a significant drop for an album that so thoroughly dominated its round 1 group.
Right. This immediately raises the question, was the author penalizing artistic evolution, or was the inconsistency really that damaging?
That's the million-dollar question.
I mean, Vitalogy is infamous for marking Pearl Jam's shift away from the straightforward aggression of 10 and V's.
It is. It's part ballads, part grunge rock, and it contains, as the author puts it, a big dose of experimentation.
And that tension is its core flaw in a structured competition like this.
It has to be. When you put a record like that up against 3 polished, coherent efforts, if its experiments fail, they drag the entire average of the album down.
And the analysis points this out. The striking perception versus reality.
It does. This is one of the biggest selling grunge bands of all time, and yet parts of the record are surprisingly sedate and calming and not at all grunge-like.
That contradiction is just fascinating. You go in expecting the sonic assault of Seattle, and you get unexpected tranquility.
Exactly.
What specific tracks really exemplify this unexpected shift toward the gentle or the introspective?
Well, to really understand the deviation, you have to listen to tracks like Immortality and Tremor Christ.
Okay.
These are, they're the antithesis of the typical heavy, angry Seattle sound people associate with them. Immortality in particular is noted for its acoustic textures, its introspective lyrics.
Yeah.
It serves almost as an existential ballad.
It's mature.
It's very mature, yes.
Yeah.
But it dramatically changes the tonal landscape of the record. It demands that the listener constantly shift gears, and that can be jarring.
I can appreciate that maturity, that evolution. But in a contest structure like this, consistency so often dictates victory. If the album forces you to constantly recalibrate your expectations, it just introduces friction.
That's a great way to put it, friction.
So what were the tracks that did live up to the grunge expectations? The ones that really hit hard?
Well, the author found a lot of strength in the tracks that leaned into the band's core identity, but maybe with a more refined edge.
For instance?
The angsty guitar-heavy, Not For You, with that highly repetitive and defiant line, This Is Not For You, which is almost a direct rejection of their massive fame at the time.
A message to the industry.
It felt like it, yeah. And the other highlight was the enduring, introspective acoustic rock ballad Betterment. These tracks are polished, they're powerful, and they're cohesive within the expectations set by grunge's emotional core.
So we have undeniable quality in the hits, but the overall album score was sunk by the deeper cuts. We really need to elaborate on the lowlights because the critique suggests they were actively damaging to the album's standing.
They weren't just filler, they were catastrophic to its chances. While tracks like Whipping and Spin the Black Circle were seen as competent, but maybe less melodic than the highlights, the real problem lay in the deeply experimental material.
This is where the band's ambition backfired.
Massively. Especially in the context of the quest.
So we have to address the elephant in the room. Bugs and Sexy Mo Fandelma.
Bugs was judged extremely harshly. The source material labels it borderline unlistenable.
What does it even sound like?
Well, the track features Eddie Vedder experimenting with an accordion.
An accordion.
And singing about bugs. It creates this dissonant, almost music concrete style piece for an album that's aiming for longevity in a competition, including a track that actively alienates the listener, even if it's artistically provocative.
It's a fatal misstep.
It really is. It's like a self-inflicted wound.
And then there's the concluding track, Sexy Mo Fandel.
Yes. The author noted the album could really do without this one. And it's essentially 2.5 minutes of Vedder just messing around, improvising vocals over heavy electronic distortion.
It's more of an abstract sound collage.
It functions as a hidden track, or an abstract piece. But when you weigh that against 3 competing albums where every single track is a highly polished commercial effort, or a painstakingly crafted progressive epic, these 2 experimental fillers just act like anchors,
Dragging the whole thing down.
dragging the entire average down to 4th place.
So Vitalogy is eliminated, not because of a lack of quality in its best moments, but because of an inability to maintain a consistent high floor.
And the Quest, as we've seen over and over, punishes inconsistency with extreme prejudice.
It's a sad irony, isn't it? The ambition to defy expectation became its ultimate weakness in this very structured competition.
Precisely. The very thing that makes it interesting is what got it knocked out.
Okay, moving up just 1 spot to 3rd place, narrowly beating the uneven experimentation of Pearl Jam, is Marillion's B-sides themselves. This was deemed a solid, if unspectacular effort. A clear improvement over 4th, but still clearly inferior to the top 2.
And this album is really a conversation about musical history itself. It's a compilation of B-sides and deep cuts, and they're exclusively from the Phish era.
Right, the band's highly lauded first phase, which concluded with their last record with vocalist Phish.
And we really should stop for a moment for our audience of, as the source material puts it, millennial streamers.
Yeah.
Who may not fully grasp the concept of the B-side from the era of vinyl.
The context is crucial here.
It is. In the 7-inch single era, B-sides weren't just filler. They were tracks deemed high quality enough to be professionally recorded, engineered, and mastered. But maybe they were too long or too strange or too conceptually heavy to be put on the main album or used as an A-side radio single.
So this compilation gathers all that second string material.
Exactly. And it represents the astonishing quality of the excess material Marillion was producing in the 80s.
And the narrative surrounding this record, because it's the final Phish era compilation, is highly poignant.
It adds this layer of profound historical irony. The final track on the compilation is a live version of a song called Margaret.
And what's significant about that?
The very last audible statement on this final Phish-led record is Phish declaring to the audience, "We will definitely return."
Oh, wow.
It's a heartbreaking promise. While Marillion did return, they did so shortly thereafter with a new singer, Steve Hogarth.
So this album stands as a monument to an era ending,
making that final declaration almost tragic in hindsight. It's the end of the road.
Let's discuss the enormous track that defines this album for so many fans. The 17-minute epic Grendel. That is a monster for a B-sides compilation.
It is a testament to their prog rock commitment. At 17 minutes, the author humorously calls it a Gruffalo tribute track. But it is a demanding listen. For comparison, that's longer than some entire EPs. And this length is precisely why it was relegated to a B-side in the first place.
It wouldn't fit commercially.
Not at all. But the author noted that despite its length, those 17 minutes race by.
How is that achieved? For our informed audience, what specific structural or compositional elements allow a 17-minute piece of music to feel engaging rather than bloated?
The success lies in what the author calls inventive song structuring. It doesn't rely on a single, repetitive rock format. Instead, it operates as a genuine musical suite.
So multiple movements.
We're talking about multiple distinct musical movements, yeah. Changes in tempo, shifts in time signature, the introduction and reintroduction of motifs. It moves fluidly from gentle, almost folk-like passages to these heavy, driving rock sections. It effectively fits 5 or 6 unique pieces into one seamless narrative whole.
And the connective tissue, as it always is with Marillion, is the guitar work of Steve Rothery.
Rothery's the anchor. His guitar is the crucial element that glues the constituent pieces together.
And he achieves this not through shredding.
No, not at all. Not through rapid-fire shredding, but through incredible textural control. His trademark style, the source material emphasizes, features that signature dream-like soaring solo.
Describe that for us.
It's sustained, melodic, and emotionally resonant. He pairs that strategically with calming, slow, single-string riffs. He provides the emotional and sonic landscape that makes the 17-minute journey eminently listenable. He uses space and tone rather than just speed.
And beyond the heavy progressive epics, the album also shines a light on their ability to write punchy pop rock.
Correct. The compilation isn't just long-form prog. Earlier tracks like Market Square Heroes are noted for being more pop-oriented, fast, and driven. Charting the single showcases the razor-sharp wit of Phish, whose clever lyrics were a defining feature of the band.
And the author's favorite.
The author's favorite was Tucson, which is described as a beautifully written, building, well-polished rock ballad. It demonstrates their melodic prowess outside of the complexity of the epics.
So B-Sides themselves is a record of phenomenal musicianship, historical depth, and surprising variety. It successfully navigated the round one challenge. Why did it stop here at third?
Well, there's a contest of inherent quality. While the B-sides were fantastic, they were still tracks that, by the band's own definition, were originally deemed not quite main album material.
So when pitted against the A-list material.
Exactly. When pitted against the flawless, distilled commercial quality of Aerosmith and the perfected modern production of Gorillaz, the deep-cut archival material just lacked the required competitive edge.
It's an intellectual and historical triumph, but not a winning record in this context.
That's a crucial distinction, yeah. It was superior to Pearl Jam's inconsistency, but it just couldn't overcome the sustained perfection of the top two.
Yeah.
It was a solid third place, but clearly inferior to the albums that advanced.
Okay, let's move into the advancing position. Our runner-up, securing its spot in round 3, is Gorillaz' 2005 landmark album, Demon Days. The author was lavish in their praise for this one, calling it an engrossing album and produced to perfection.
And estimated that 80% is top-notch.
Right, and noting that it pushed Aerosmith incredibly close for first place.
This record really defines stylish, modern, sonic intelligence. It's the epitome of the high-concept virtual band, masterfully blending all these diverse genres into a cohesive and often quite cynical commentary on contemporary culture.
You mentioned its intelligence. The source material notes that due to its lyrical content and overall vibe, it might appear arty and slightly pretentious.
And you can see why.
Especially with the casual drop of sophisticated words like ephemeral and catastrophony.
That's a key observation. The album asks the listener to engage intellectually. Damon Albarn and his collaborators, they aren't making simple pop music here. They're dealing with themes of decay, societal breakdown, apocalyptic consumerism. For the informed listener, those specific, sophisticated words, ephemeral, meaning fleeting, catastrophony, which is a kind of portmanteau for catastrophic revelation, they signal the depth of the philosophical despair that's woven into the music.
It's dark, but it's delivered with this effortless cool.
That's the key. But the quality isn't immediate, which is surprising for a near winner. The author describes the album's start as ordinary.
What failed to engage them in that initial run of tracks?
Well, the opening 3 tracks, Last Living Souls, Kids with Guns, and Oh Green World, while they're essential to setting the mood, they lack the immediate pop propulsion you find later in the album.
Right.
Kids with Guns, for instance, is highly atmospheric. It uses a nice bass line, but its repetitive structure and slow build might not immediately grab the listener in a head-to-head comparison. It's the slow, simmering tension before the explosion.
So when does the album hit its stride and begin that climb toward near perfection?
The ascent begins undeniably with Dirty Harry. From that point forward, the quality maintains a steady, almost relentless climb,
Culminating in
one of the most unique tracks on the entire record, Fire Coming Out of the Monkey's Head.
That track is a total departure from the rest of the album, isn't it?
It is. It's described as a hypnotic storytelling fable, where the actor Dennis Hopper narrates this unsettling ecological allegory over a minimalist, high-quality beat.
That's incredible.
It demonstrates the breadth of Albarn's vision. He uses the album not just for music, but for conceptual narrative. This blend of hypnotic sound and deep lyrical meaning is what makes the whole experience so engrossing.
The genre fusion is paramount here. It's so hard to put a label on Gorillaz. How does the album successfully merge so many disparate elements without just collapsing into chaos?
Yeah, it's just brilliant sonic engineering. The album is a carefully constructed mosaic of rap and hip-hop beats, layered over funk grooves, interspersed with chill-out electronica, all subtly underpinned by string orchestration when it's needed.
And what holds it all together?
The constant swirl of musical ideas is held together by 2 things: meticulous production and Damon Albarn's consistent vocal presence.
His delivery, it's so laid back, almost nonchalant. It seems tailor-made for the sophisticated style. He's the cool, unifying voice amid all the complexity.
Exactly. He never oversins, never forces the emotion. This understated delivery complements the high-concept, easygoing style beautifully. And we see the execution of this complex layering in the key collaborations.
Right, like on Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry is a prime example. It features the San Fernandez Youth Chorus, which manages to make a choir sound simultaneously relaxed and completely absorbing. It's this perfect blend of high-art orchestration and simple, satisfying rhythms.
But the flagship track, the one that defines its commercial success and its pop prowess, is certainly Feel Good Inc.
Oh, without a doubt. Feel Good Inc. is the track that anchors its commercial success. It features that irresistible pop hook that was the defining sonic moment of the mid-2000s for a lot of people, supplemented by high-quality, articulate hip-hop provided by the American group De La Soul.
It's a perfect collision of contemporary genres,
Resulting in what the author rightly identifies as still one top tune. It fuses complexity and commercial appeal absolutely seamlessly.
So Demon Days is an engrossing album, produced to perfection, cerebral, nearly flawless. Why did it fall short of first place and have to settle for second?
Well, while 80% of it is top-notch, the source material suggests those final, minute imperfections were just enough to let Aerosmith take the lead.
What kind of imperfections?
The author mentions a few passages of nihility. This refers to moments where the cynical, philosophical outlook translates into musical passages that feel slightly empty or sparse.
Leaning too heavily into mood rather than composition.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah.
Those slight dips in consistency, coupled with the overwhelming sustained sonic wall delivered by Big Ones, were just enough to put Gorillaz into a very comfortable second place.
So it advances to round 3.
But it was unable to claim the top spot in Group 18. It's a win based on quality, but a loss based on ultimate competitive weight. A near-perfect album, but the competition was structured to reward absolute perfection.
All right, let's talk about the winner. Taking the crown, easily securing first place in round 2, Group 18, and moving forward to round 3 is Aerosmith's Big Ones. And this result, while maybe predictable for a best of album, requires us to debate the structural fairness of the quest itself.
This is the philosophical debate at the heart of the entire album quest, isn't it? Does a collection of perfected hits inherently have an unfair advantage over a cohesive but flawed studio album?
And the author strongly validates the power of this record.
They do. They call the collection, which spans from 1987 to 1994, Aerosmith's true golden period.
That period is so crucial. It covers their massive resurgence, collating hits from 3 consecutive multi-platinum albums: Permanent Vacation, Pump, and Get a Grip.
This wasn't just a hit. This was a sustained commercial explosion. It was fueled by MTV, by slick production.
By big-budget videos.
Everything. The quality control is inherently flawless because these were the tracks engineered specifically for maximum commercial impact. The album kicks off, according to the author, with Walk on Water,
Which is characterized
as unsophisticated and an immediate, sonically induced assault. It's designed to grab you instantly, delivering a headache-inducing, caustic, pumping rock chorus.
That description emphasizes volume and impact over complexity. It's a statement of raw power.
It is. It's an immediate wall of sound. And while that opening is caustic, it quickly settles into the highly polished, commercial rock sound that defined their golden era. The tunes are consistently solid, featuring massive radio anthems like Rag Doll, Dude, Looks Like a Lady, and Eat the Rich.
And the Aerosmith package in this era is entirely defined by the inseparable power of Joe Perry and Steven Tyler.
And Toxic Twins, yeah.
Let's delve into Joe Perry's guitar work because the analysis here is specific and comparative. The author notes he is competent but lacks the technical flair of his contemporaries, like an Eddie Van Halen or a David Gilmour.
This is a crucial distinction for the informed listener. Perry's strength is not virtuosity in the traditional sense. It's not speed. It's not melodic invention in the style of Gilmour's sustained melodic lines. He is described as perfectly competent, technically. But his true effectiveness comes from an entirely different, more architectural approach.
Explain that architecture. How does he build that sound?
He relies heavily on powerful chord combinations and well-timed interventions of heavy rhythms and riffs. This means his guitar tracks are often about texture and weight and rhythmic punch.
Not the solo, but the foundation.
Precisely. He uses simple, high-impact power chords and highly syncopated riffs that perfectly lock in with the drums and bass. He is a master of the riff, creating a dense foundational layer, that wall of sound so thick you could bash your head on it.
So his goal isn't to draw attention to himself with a flashy solo.
His goal is to make the entire song sound massive and unavoidable. This is what commercial hard rock demands, and he delivers it flawlessly across all 16 tracks.
And the other half of that equation, of course, is Steven Tyler, whose vocal performance is lauded for its sheer force.
Tyler's voice is the absolute centerpiece. It's called powerful enough to blow your speakers out, possessing more range than an ICBM.
Yeah, that's quite a description.
It means he has the range to cover everything from low growls to soaring, sustained high notes. His voice is a true force of nature, dominating the soundscape with a bluesy, powerful, and often slightly suggestive tone.
And the author provides a personal anecdote about that power.
Yeah, about seeing him live at the London Millennium Dome and noting that he barely needs a microphone and amp to be heard. It just underscores the sheer visceral volume and presence he commands.
It's not just the core duo, though. To create such massive, sustained soundscape, the instrumentation had to be expertly layered.
And they mastered that layering during this commercial period. The compilation expertly weaves in boisterous brass on tracks like Ragdoll. It adds the bluesy grit of a heaving harmonica, and it uses high-spirited maracas to add textural complexity and groove.
These elements aren't just tacked on.
No, they are integral to building the dynamic sound that makes these 16 tracks feel diverse yet consistently heavy.
And considering the breadth of the material, 16 songs, 78 minutes long, the source material notes the quality continually rises.
It's a marathon of peak performance. The album sustains excellence through tracks like Angel, one of their defining power ballads, Love in an Elevator, and the dark narrative of Janie's Got a Gun. The author finds that the songs just keep coming, and critically, the quality keeps going up with each song.
Because this collection is engineered perfection.
It was untouchable in a group containing uneven experimentation and archival deep cuts.
So Big Ones advances comfortably, leveraging that distilled commercial consistency and overwhelming sonic force to beat out the cerebral cool of Gorillaz, the historical depth of Marillion, and the messy experimentation of Pearl Jam.
Okay, to synthesize the results of this intense battle in Round 2, Group 18, let's just confirm the final rankings and the consequences for the album quest.
Let's do it.
First place, advancing to Round 3, is Big Ones by Aerosmith, a victory for commercial consistency.
Right.
Second place, also advancing, is Demon Days by Gorillaz, a win for modern sophisticated production.
Okay.
Third place, and eliminated from the quest, is B-Sides Themselves by Marillion, marking the end of the line for archival material.
And finally.
And in fourth place, also eliminated, is Vitalogy by Pearl Jam, penalized for its inconsistency.
So what does this all mean for the album quest? And, more importantly for you, the listener, who's trying to understand what structural elements are being favored in this kind of critical evaluation.
This group, despite being labeled mid-tier, was a phenomenal crucible for testing musical values. The results highlight a clear preference for sustained, high-quality execution over risk and niche appeal.
It's pretty clear.
The inherent advantage of the compilation format with Big Ones and the near-perfect production of a high-concept modern record like Demon Days simply outperformed the others.
Let's focus on that essential conflict: consistency versus risk. We saw Pearl Jam take a huge artistic swing with Vitalogy reaching for new sonic territory, and they paid the ultimate price.
Finishing fourth.
Yeah, because their experiments failed to land consistently.
That inability to maintain a high floor across the entire runtime was its undoing. The quest, by its nature, punishes even 2 or 3 unlistenable tracks severely.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it just underscores the contrast between the Marillion album,
which is a celebration of deep fan cuts rewarding the history of vinyl,
and the Gorillaz album, which is a modern masterpiece of genre blending that embraces complexity without sacrificing polished delivery.
Okay, so if Marillion's material was inherently flawed by having been deemed B-sides, how did the conceptual complexity and fusion of Gorillaz fare better? Was the author penalizing history or rewarding modernity?
I think it's a rewarding of effectiveness. Marillion was fighting with historical context, trying to prove that material deemed not quite enough back in the 80s was strong enough today.
And while impressive,
it was still a step below the aggressive perfection of Big Ones and the flawless sonic architecture of Demon Days. Gorillaz, conversely, achieved a modern high-concept fusion that maintained production quality throughout.
So it proves that complexity is acceptable.
As long as the execution remains flawless.
Yes. The ultimate takeaway seems to be that commercial quality, when it's distilled and perfected, is an almost unstoppable force in this competition. Aerosmith's Big Ones didn't have to worry about track sequencing or artistic risk.
They just had to collect the best of their best. That's the structural advantage. And it raises a fascinating and important question for the entire quest.
Which is?
Is the best album necessarily the one that is the most consistent collection of hits, like Big Ones? Or is it the album that attempts to break new conceptual ground, regardless of the occasional misstep?
And in this round 2 bracket, there's a clear answer.
In this group, consistency and overwhelming sonic punch clearly won out over historical deep diving and uneven creative risk.
We've uncovered the high cost of experimentation with Pearl Jam, the romantic limits of musical history with Marillion, and the sheer brutal power of sustained commercial quality with Aerosmith. It's a testament to how subjective and rigorous this evaluation process is.
It is. It's a stunning look into one person's definitive musical worldview and how quickly cherished albums can be eliminated when they're forced into a direct, measurable competition.
So we've learned that the album quest is ruthless in its demands for consistency. Reflecting back on Pearl Jam's Vitalogy, an album that was viewed as surprisingly sedate and experimental despite the expectations of the grunge genre. We have to consider the relationship between musical fame, genre identity, and the actual content delivered.
Indeed. The artist often seeks growth and evolution. The competition, however, it demands peak performance within a consistent, definable framework.
So if the greatest strength of an album is defying expectation, moving beyond what the fans or critics expect from a mega grunge band, does that same defiance ultimately become its fatal weakness in a highly structured competition?
That's the eternal artistic tension right there.
Does the freedom the artist takes on the record directly lead to its elimination in a quest that demands competitive conformity?
It's the eternal tension, innovation versus success. Vitalogy proved that while innovation might be rewarded initially, it won round one, after all. If it results in poor execution on certain tracks, the competition will punish it swiftly and without mercy.